Hello, students, and a very warm welcome. Today, we are going to do a complete revision of the chapter on federalism. This session is designed to cover everything you need to know, so you can feel confident and, of course, score very well in your upcoming exams. So here's our plan. We will walk through the entire chapter systematically. We'll begin with the basic question, what is federalism? Then, we'll look at India as a federal country, how we actually practice federalism, and the very important topic of decentralization. And finally, we will look at the achievements and challenges and end with some tips for your final exam preparation. All right, let's begin.
All right, let's get right into it. The first and most important thing is to understand the fundamental idea of federalism. So, what exactly is it?
So please remember this definition. Federalism is a system of government where the power is divided. It's divided between a central authority and the various constituent units of the country. Think of it like this. You have the central government and you have the state governments, and both are independent in their own areas. It is all about sharing power. This is a very important definition.
Now, this is a very important point for your exams. You must understand the difference between a federal system and a unitary system. In a federal system, like we have in India, there are two or more levels of government. The central government cannot just order the state government to do something. But in a unitary system, like in Sri Lanka, there's really only one level of government, and the central government can pass orders to the provinces. It's a key difference.
Now, this slide is really interesting because it lists the features that define any federal country. It's not enough to just have two levels of government. Each level must govern the same citizens but have its own specific area of control, its own jurisdiction. And this authority has to be guaranteed by the Constitution. Also, very importantly, you need the courts to act as an umpire in case of any disputes. And finally, for true financial independence, each level needs its own specified sources of revenue. Please memorize these points well. You see, federations are formed in two ways. First, there's the coming together federation. This is when independent states, they come together to form a bigger unit, like in the USA or Australia. But then there's the holding together federation. This is where a large country, like India, decides to divide its power between the states and the central government. And India is a holding together federation. This is why our central government tends to be more powerful than the states. Okay, so let's move on and see how all of this applies in the Indian context. What makes India a federal country? Well, the answer is in our Constitution itself. Exam alert! This table on the three lists is extremely important. Our Constitution clearly provides a threefold distribution of legislative powers. The Union list covers subjects like defense and foreign affairs. The state list covers things like police and agriculture. And then we have the concurrent list, with subjects like education and forests, where both the Union and the state governments can make laws. You must know these lists.
Now you might be wondering, what about subjects that are not on any of these lists? For example, computer software. This came up much after the Constitution was made, right? So remember this point. For any of these residuary subjects, the Union government has the power to make the laws.
Another key feature of Indian federalism is that it is not perfectly symmetrical. This means all states do not have identical powers. For example, some states like Assam and Nagaland have a special status under Article 371 to protect their unique culture. And then we also have union territories like Chandigarh or Delhi, which have very limited powers and are run by the central government.
So what if there's a dispute about this division of powers? Who decides? Well, the judiciary plays the role of an umpire. Our high courts and the Supreme Court have the power to step in and resolve any conflicts between the center and the states. This is a very crucial point, because it's the judiciary that ensures the whole system works.
Okay, so we've talked about what's written in the Constitution, but having provisions is one thing. The real success of federalism depends on how it is actually practiced in our democratic politics. So let's look at that now. In this image, it brilliantly illustrates the point. The creation of linguistic states was our first major test of federalism in practice. Many people at the time were afraid that creating states based on language would break the country apart, but our experience has shown that it has actually made the country more united. It's a fantastic example of federalism working well.
And look at this linguistic diversity. It's incredible, isn't it? To manage this, our Constitution was very wise. It did not make any one language a national language. Hindi's the official language, yes, but 22 other major languages are recognized as scheduled languages. This language policy is another way our federalism is practiced, by accommodating diversity.
The relationship between the center and the states has also changed a lot over time. Before 1990, it was common for a single party to rule at both the center and in many states. This sometimes undermined the power of the states. But everything changed after 1990. We saw the rise of many regional parties, and this led to an era of coalition governments. This new culture of power sharing has made our federalism much, much stronger.
Now, a country as vast and diverse as India cannot be run only through two levels of government. It's just too big. This is why we needed a third tier of government, and that is what we call local government.
So what is decentralization? It's the practice of taking power away from the central and state governments and giving it to local government bodies. The basic idea is very simple. Local people have a better knowledge of their own local problems, and decentralization allows them to participate directly in decision-making. It's about bringing democracy to the grassroots level.
And here's another exam alert for you. Please remember the year 1992. This was when a major constitutional amendment was passed to make this third tier of democracy, our local government, more powerful and effective. This amendment made it mandatory to hold regular local elections, and it also reserved seats for SCs, STs, and women.
So let's look at the structure of our rural local government, which you know is called the Panchayati Raj. It's a three-tier system. At the very bottom, at the village level, we have the Gram Panchayat. Then, a few Gram Panchayats come together to form the Panchayat Samiti at the block level. And at the top, at the district level, all the Panchayat Samitis together form the Zilla Parishad. So village, block, and district. It's a simple structure to remember.
So this was a huge, great experiment in democracy. But how has it actually worked out? Let's take a balanced look at both the achievements and the challenges.
So, if we look at the balance sheet, we can see both sides. On the achievements side, giving constitutional status to local bodies has really deepened our democracy. And it has significantly increased women's representation in politics, which is a huge success. But there are still challenges. Gram Sabhas are often not held regularly. Many state governments have not transferred significant powers or funds to the local bodies. So while it's a great step, there is still a long way to go.
All right, we have revised the entire chapter now. So, to finish, let's go over some final preparation tips to help you write the very best answers in your exam.
Please follow these tips carefully. When you write your answers, always use clear headings and subheadings. It makes your answer easy to read. And please, quote the constitutional terms we discussed, like union list or concurrent list. Give specific examples, like linguistic states or coalition governments. These things show the examiner that you have understood the chapter deeply, not just memorized it.
So, that's our revision. You are now well prepared. You have worked hard and you have revised the chapter very well. Please go into your exam with a lot of confidence. All the very best.